Good morning, everybody,
Good morning.
and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, happy 2023.
So yeah, we've been a little bit absent the last couple of weeks. Sorry about that. Yeah. So if you've been sort of itching for new videos from us, apologies for that.
Apologies.
We had a bit of a sort of personal situation. My best friend passed away beginning of December, sadly. So it's been a tough month for us. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so we're sort of having to sort of deal with all that, and then obviously Christmas and New Year. So so apologies for the lack of videos, but we are back.
We are back.
So
Games. Yay.
and it's a cold January morning now, January 2nd, I think. So no idea what day it is, and hence us being in our Christmas whatever they're called.
Christmas oversized
oversized blanket.
Mighty slug.
Yeah. So anyway,
So today,
this is what we're doing.
Today we are looking at Survive, Escape from Atlantis.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
Of course.
Survive.
This is from Stronghold Games, 2 to 4 players. We played it as a 2, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
It is dice rolling, grid movement. It's like a hexagon grid. And it's a bit of take that in there.
A lot of a take that game, to be
lot.
fair. This we've also got in here a little expansion you can purchase, which is it enables it to go to 6 players, which is kind of one of the reasons I bought it, because we played it at my board game club. I think we played it as a 5, so normally 2 to 4, and the expansion makes it 5 to 6 as well. And we played it as a 5 in the board game club, and it was bonkers, and I loved it. And I thought this would go down well with our families who aren't board game players, and we like to sort of teach them new board games that are fairly easy to pick up.
Yeah, mainstream enough for them to get.
Yeah, not too board gamey, and this is one of those. But we did play as a 2 to see how it goes as a 2, and so that's how we'll talk about it.
Yes, correct.
So shall I?
Please do.
Okay, so as Bear said, this is a dice rolling game, but a very small part of it is a dice rolling game. It's not your movement or anything like that. And a hex grid, and it's like a reverse tile laying game. There are 40 tiles that make up the island of Atlantis that your explorers are all on, and they slowly go away, and therefore that's the sort of island sinking, and you're trying to get your explorers off of the island to the 4 corners of the board where there's dry land.
Via a boat.
Yeah, via boat, hopefully, but sometimes they can swim. And it's basically each player takes their turn moving their players towards the edge of the board in some way, and the other players are trying to stop them doing that.
There are many ways you can stop the other player by getting to safe land.
Yeah. So the way the game plays is initially you lay out the random tiles in the middle. There's like a sort of a bordered off section of the sea in the middle where you have to fill that with all the grids randomly. And there are three types of grids: sand, terrain types, sand, so it's the beach, forest, and mountain. And they are slightly thicker than each other, so the sand's thin.
Yeah, it looks really good. Looks like
it's got like 3D things.
Layers in the island.
So you lay those out randomly, and then you take it in turns populating your explorers onto the grid. In a 2-player game, you control 2 colours, so
just to make it more interesting.
Yeah, well, and it fills the island. It makes it. If you only controlled one set of explorers in a 2-player game, there would be no kind of fighting over the land when you're starting to lay them out.
Yeah, it's exactly the right number, isn't it? I think it's 40.
It's 40. Yeah, it's 20 each. So if you're playing in a bigger player count, it's 10 players each, and you're trying to kind of get them on, I want to say, strategic places, but it's very hard to decide what is good and what is bad. Yeah. Just because of the randomness of how the island is built, and also how it sinks, and how each other decides to make it sink, because you make it sink on each other. Something. So, but anyway, you take it in terms of placing out your meeples and explorers. They've all got a little number on the bottom of them, and it suggests in the rule book that you take a note of where you're placing those numbered explorers.
On the higher score.
Yeah, because you want to get the highest number explorers back to dry land. So for instance, I think they go to 6. So 6, 5, 4s, you want to get them back to dry land, whereas the 1, 2, 3s, not so much, because the person at the end of the game with the most number count on the bottom of their explorers. It's not the number of explorers. It's the number counted up. So you might get 10 back and they've all got 6 on them or something like that. That won't happen because that's not how many there are, but you know what I mean. So it suggests that you remember where you put these people.
I've got proof that doesn't work.
Well, yeah, good. You can share that in a minute. You can share that in a minute. But that's what it suggests, but it's very hard. And
you forget where
every time I played it, I never remembered where one of them is, let alone all 10 of them.
Let
alone 20, actually,
if you're like, I want to get rid of their 6s.
True, yeah. So anyway, that's what it suggests. So you put your explorers onto the various hexes and different land types, and then you take 3 actions, stroke 4 actions, 3 actions per turn each, and those actions basically are: you move one of your explorers towards the edge of the board in some way. You then sink one of the tiles. You remove the tile, and it reveals something underneath. Again, I'll get back to that in a second. And then you roll the dice, which basically moves the monsters on the board. So there are various types of monsters which will get you. So that's the 3 actions. There's one kind of plus action, which is when you take a tile, which has got the terrain type on it, underneath the tile, randomly obviously, because you don't know what's gone out, there are different types of incidents that occur.
Events. Yeah.
So if there's a green border on this image that you turn over, it says an image of a shark and it's a green border, you immediately lay a shark where you took that tile from. And they're just... Very nice. There are different types of those green borders. So there's a shark, there's a whale, there's a boat, a whirlpool, a volcano, and they do different things. So you take the tile, you drop whoever, if there's someone, into the drink at that point, and flip over the tile secretly, initially, because it might not be a green tile.
Yes.
If it's got a green border, you do that immediately. So for instance, if it's got a shark on it, you pop a shark in the water where that tile came from. If it's got a red border, they're things for you alone, and they are either like advantageous things that you can play at a later point, which is why I say there's a 3/4 actions. The 4th action is you can lay one of those tiles when you pick it up. If it's got a red border, you can keep it for later on, and you can play that at the beginning of your turn.
Move a shark to an empty space. Move
a whale. Move a boat.
Move the sea monster.
You get a dolphin that could come and save one of your swimmers if they're in the drink. They move you extra spaces and stuff like that.
And then there's obviously 2 that are...
there's not obviously 2, but there are 2.
There's 2.
Obviously 2.
There's a protection against shark and protection against the
whale. Yeah, exactly. So...
You can go, don't put that shark there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And so the game progresses by sinking all the sand tiles first that are adjacent to the sea. You kind of work your way in from the edge, thematically obviously. So you take the sand tiles first, then you take the forest tiles, and then you take the mountain tiles. So the island slowly gets smaller and smaller, but obviously what you want to do is take the sand tiles, when you're taking those, that your opponents have got explorers on, because when you take that tile, they drop into the sea. And then they are swimming. It is hilarious. And of course, if you turn over the tile and it's a green shark, you pop a shark straight into the water where that tile came from. Are you going to do that every time I say shark? And it eats that explorer basically. So that's hilarious. Very take that. Very take that. So the creatures basically, when it says populate this space, this hex with a creature, the creatures are a sea monster, and the sea monsters move 1 hex at a time, and they will destroy a boat and everything in it. A whale will spill a boat and put all the passengers in it in the drink. They don't eat humans. They're just whales. They just knock the boat over, and the boat goes off the board. Sharks eat anything that's in that hex, any explorers. So it could be 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Destroy a boat.
But they don't destroy a boat. So if you're in a boat, you're safe.
Jaws? Sharks destroy boats.
So those are the creatures basically. So the sea monsters, the whales, the sharks. That's it, wasn't it? Yeah. and you, as the opponent, kind of try to use those to nab your opponent's swimmers and or boats in the
You can have a
in the
boat
sea.
like that's halfway to the island with like three of his men on it, and there's a shark there, and you get a move a shark. Doesn't knock him into the water.
No, shark doesn't.
No, it'd be a whale then. A whale
Yeah.
knocks him into the sea.
Yeah.
Or if they're just swimming around, shark.
Yeah. So you kind of want to move the creatures towards the other players, explorers, and try and get them before they make it to dry land. And that's kind of how the game plays out. And so your three actions: move an explorer. So initially, you get to move one explorer up to 3 spaces, or 3 separate explorers 1 space each, or so you have 3 movement points.
1, 2, and 1.
Yeah. So you might move an explorer initially as well. When you populate the island, you put a couple of boats around the island as well. So each player has a couple of boats, and they put them near where obviously most of your explorers are going to be. So you want to get them in a boat. So one of your movements might be to drop an explorer into a boat next to the sand there, pop him in. Another one might be 1, 2, and then into the boat, that kind of thing. So you're trying to get your men into the boat and then get the boat to the island on the edge. So you do your movement, and then you remove a tile. So again, you're trying to get the other opponent's tile with their explorers on, and you action whatever that is on the back unless it's red and keep it for yourself. And then you roll the monster dice basically, and it's got the symbols for shark, sea monster, whale. Whatever comes up, then you action that. So say for instance, if it's a shark, you move a shark.
I think it's 1 to 2.
There it says on the edge of the board actually that so a sea monster moves 1, either 0 or 1, so it's a maximum of 1. A shark moves a maximum of 2, and a whale moves a maximum of 3 hexes. And so you move those towards your opponent to try and kind of tip them into the sea and get them eaten or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And then it's the other person's turn. So that's literally it. And if, like I say, if you've got one of these powers that you can play that at the beginning of your turn. Simple.
It's very simple.
Very, very, very take-thatty. Hilarious.
And hilarious
if
you're being take-thatted.
No, to be fair, you take that on me a lot more than I take that on you. I don't know why. It might
just
be random, I guess. I don't know. But very simple game to teach, very simple game to play. That's literally the rule set, basically.
An 8+. Yeah, I can see how it would be.
Yeah, pretty easy to teach your youngsters, but non-board gamers for sure. So this will definitely be going. We haven't done it yet, but this will definitely be going to
2 to 4
the family.
And
the expansion. Yeah, the expansion I think is called Dolphins. So it comes up with another little expansion, a little animal that you can do. It's got a separate dice that you can roll for the dolphins and stuff.
And you keep playing until you turn over
volcano.
One of the highest land. The rock has a volcano on it.
Yeah, just one. That's the end game trigger. Basically, that's it. Literally, game finishes right there and then, and you score up all the ones that have made it to land. All the ones that haven't, they're gone. All the ones that have made it to land, you flip over your little characters.
And my proof of
score them up.
Of trying to remember where you put your numbers that's not good is because I made a note of all my numbers, and I put all the 1s and 2s on the sand near the edge, like they're a bit more in a scary place, and all the bigger numbers in the middle. Try and save them on the mountains. But actually, we thought you're going to get the people on the sand out first, aren't you? They're first to the boats, really. And you were just randomly placing them because you thought, no, I was going to randomly place them, and you got a much higher score than I did. So maybe if you do it again, we put the bigger scores on the outside, then they're more vulnerable. So it's always.
I know, it's a tricksy one.
I wouldn't strategically plan.
No,
I
didn't. Random. Yeah, I just did it randomly because I couldn't remember anyway.
The fate of the sharks and the whales.
Fate of Atlantis. Is that a film? Yeah, anyway. So there it is. Survive, escape from Atlantis. The production value of this is Stronghold Games. Production value is really good. Like you were saying about the tiles thickness that make it kind of a 3D island.
And the images of the sharks and things.
Yeah, all the drawings on the
man holding onto a dolphin, isn't it?
Yeah, all the drawings on the back of the tiles really. Well, the tiles themselves are nice. Everything about it. The board looks lovely. The quality of the little animals, the monsters and stuff.
Yeah,
really nice, isn't it? It's a really nice, and it's very. To me, if I was a young child, this is very kind of like a really nice, like exciting board game presence type thing. You know what I mean? Considering it's fairly low key in a way. It's not like got big big minis. You know what I mean? It's not got like big monsters or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. But it really does. If I was a child,
it's got the big creatures.
Yeah. If I was a child, I'd be really kind of like, because I am even as an old man.
You are just a big child.
But I'm really impressed with it. It's really exciting, nice. You know, this comes across as a board game.
Yep.
You know, some of these games won't necessarily to kids. You know, it's a bit like. This, I feel, would come across as a...
And the fact that it's like simple helps as well.
Yeah, I really like this game a lot. And it plays very well at all player counts. I've played it at all player counts, except for 6. But I'm sure it'll be just as bonkers. Yeah. I think it would play better, or it does play better at a higher player count, because obviously you're not...
You're in charge of 2 people as well, 2 colours. Aren't you?
Yeah, well, and also you're not. As always, it's more fun when there's different people playing against different people, because it shares out the aggression. They sort of take that thing. When it's just versus, it's obviously.
But one thing I really like about this game and other games we've played is you don't know the score until the end. If it was like the most explorers wins,
you can see it coming.
I've got 2 and you've got 5, you're winning.
Yeah.
And you're going to win, but I could have won with just my 2 because I have better scores. So I like the not knowing till right at the end who's won.
Which, by the way, if you don't know this, but you may, this game kind of very similar to a game called Pompeii, Escape from Pompeii, something like that.
Survive, Escape from Pompeii.
Well, it's the same kind of idea. Pompeii gets flooded with lava instead of the island shrinking.
Oh, yes.
But you're trying to get your meeples out of Pompeii before it gets flooded with lava. Very similar game, but you're just getting a number of meeples out. Yeah. And so as the game's getting near the end, you can see who's in the lead. Yeah. So that is a good point, actually.
We played a few games. What's the game? We played one where you get coins, and the coins have different values on underneath, and then you don't know to the end then.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Small World, for instance.
Yeah, River World.
Small World.
Yeah, Small World. Yeah.
In fact, we did play River World. Right?
Not knowing it, because you see a little pile there and you got a big pass. I was like, I kind of get a bit like, he's winning again.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So it is a nice surprise at the end to see who's won. Yeah.
Games that you don't know.
Cool. Oh, well, there you go. So big thumbs up from us on this one. Scores. Shall I go?
On the doors. Yeah.
8.5. Yeah, I mean, I almost might creep into a 9 because it's that much fun. I enjoy it, but it's fairly.
What's your score?
8.5.
It might creep into 9, but it won't.
Well, it might. 8 3/4 if there was such a thing, but no, 8.5. But it's kind of it's almost 9 because there's nothing wrong with this game.
It's good for us, being a gamer I'm a gamer but not a gamer.
Yeah.
No, I like mainstream party games.
Like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a good one.
It kind of feels like a party game almost.
It's mainstream party game enough for me, and it's gamey enough for you.
Yes.
It's a good mix. I'll go 8.
8. So that's
16.5.
Pretty good.
High score, well done, Stronghold.
Yeah, so there we go. So hopefully it's been useful for you.
Recommended. Anyone who's not a gamer like myself.
Yeah, good fun game.
You will enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Good fun. And the higher count the better maybe, but it still works for 2. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll play it again.
I've only played it as a 2.
Let's play it now. Cool. All right, well there you go. Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Hopefully that has given you some more information. Try and find it. We recommend it highly. Yes. Okay, people. Thanks very much for bearing with us over the last month or so, and we'll try and get our video count back up again and get some more videos.
Yes. We got all a great 2023.
True that, but we've got a lot of games that we've sort of played recently that we haven't had a chance to review, so we'll try and jump on that as soon as possible. Thanks very much, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.